when he was a young boy, he because of lack of timely medical care. And at that point, he decided that he would be a doctor and reach those people that have got the least access to medical facilities. And a lot of what I think we will speak about today is experiences in doing exactly that. So he finished his medical graduation from Bangalore Medical College in 1973. At that point, he decided that he would be a doctor just so that that was the best access to medical facilities. And a lot of what I'm going to speak about today is very important. And then he started out as a finished medical graduation from Bangalore Medical College in 1973. This is the one he decided to do.
MBBS, PhD in agriculture, and I think they work in the same center and contribute towards it. This was at a time when one feared Veerappan, who was the feared dacoit in that region. Also, there were wild elephant herds to be feared, and amongst all this, the work that was happening was going on. A few years into the establishment of this, as a young intern, I got an opportunity to work in the same place. And I spent 3 months there in VGKK as a doctor. Among other things, I learned to treat animal bites, bee stings, injuries from fall from a tree, and also to investigate sickle cell anemia with a homemade electrophoresis kit, which I think his brother had made. So we used to work with that and keep cards of all the carriers and the homozygous affected long ago, so that we knew what needed to be treated and how. So this was a long time ago. I never saw a single patient with a lifestyle disorder or obesity, and that was so unique to the community there, who were always active. I wanted to show you a few photographs that I've got from my very grainy pictures that I took there. The lady on the right was the first patient I ever treated. I had to travel 6 hours to go and pick her up because she had had a miscarriage and she had a septic abortion. This was the hospital view with the patients used to be all outside. So we had to ask them to come back from rounds to come and lie back on the bed because they'd be sunning themselves. And these are some of the children who had this innate musical ability and a great sense of rhythm. So they used to come and sing and talk to us about herbs. I'm sure they're all grown up now. They wrote to me for many years after I left the place. That's a younger version of me with the man Friday that you used to have, Dr. SUDARSHAN. His name was Malesha. And that was a wild elephant who used to come every day to eat jaggery at the place that I worked. I sent much of my internship money to pay for the jaggery even after I left. And we were very blessed because we were allowed into the sanctum sanctorum of the temple during the Jatra. Thanks to us being doctors and with the vicarious honor that we had of being in his footsteps. Dr. Sudarshan was not there at that time, so I just wanted to show those pictures, and that was just some of these are the Karnataka Rajyotsava Award, the Right Livelihood Award in 1994, which is otherwise called the Alternative Nobel, and the Padma Shri from the President of India in 2000, the International Social Entrepreneur Award of the Year from the Schwab Foundation in 2015, and the Ashton Award for Health and Energy in 2019. More recently, he's been awarded a doctorate in science from the Ramakrishna Mission, and currently he's working to set up a health facility in Belur Math in West Bengal. Dr. Sudarshan, I'm really happy that you have agreed to give this talk, and I'd like to inform you that in addition to all the distinguished audience that we have here, your former teacher, Dr. Vasundhara is here, your former classmate, Dr. Veena Rao is here, and we're all looking forward to hearing from you.
So you can use the pointer, sir. Slide changer. You can change the slide. Yeah, this is the next one.
Dear Director of the institution, Meenakshi Bhatt, my teacher, Dr. Vasundhara, my classmate. Work are not different. That's why I'll be mixing up my life story and my work together, because they were never separate. So nowadays people don't want to mix up don't want to talk about their life, only want to talk about their work. But in my case, my life and work were same. Very briefly to summarize, I think you made such an excellent Meenakshi, but as summarize all the work, I don't think I can add very much to it. I just want to summarize. I was born in a cowshed in Yamalur near HAL. My mother had a choice to go and deliver at HAL hospital, which she did for my elder sister. But I was a third. She was tired of going to HAL hospital, so she wanted to deliver at home. So the tradition is to put them in a cowshed. They won't deliver inside the house. So in that jagli with a hay, I was born there, and maybe I have better immunity than all of you because I was born in the cowshed. So that's number one. But why I'm telling that is today, through the Karuna Trust and VGKK, we are able to provide every year 10,000 safe deliveries to mothers. So that's the difference, safe deliveries. That's how my life, being born was a great inspiration for me to provide safe deliveries to the mothers. Second, as I was told, I had the tragedy of being with my father when I was 12 years old. I walked from Jayanagar, we were in Madhan Park, and then we walked to Madiwala, where my aunt was there, and I went to the garden to pluck the flowers and vegetables. I came back, he was breathing, probably had a massive attack, and I had to helplessly watch him die. I was just 12 years, I was not aware. But I didn't shed tears, but I made one strong sankalpa, determination that I will become a doctor and save lives the rest of my life rather than helplessly watching. And today I'm instrumental in providing primary health care to about 2 million people all over the country, which I will be sharing some of it. And also I'm instrumental in providing ICUs in almost all the backward states, and saving lives through those ICUs is giving me great joy in my life. So that's when I wanted to become a doctor, I just wanted to be a doctor, but any other doctor. But when also I have to continue my life story. I studied in Yamlur school, which is a primary school, and my teacher gave me a jump. I didn't study third standard. From second to fourth, he thought I was good, so I can be given a jump. And then I had good marks. I studied PUC in St. Joseph's. I had good marks, but they caught me. I was underaged. I had to complete 16 years by October 30th. I was completing it on December 30th. So they said, next year you can join, we cannot give. I tried my best, put a legal case. So all my juniors went ahead, and I worked in a flour mill. I used to cycle from Jayanagar to Shishadripuram, and I used to earn 110 rupees salary. And 2.5 months salary was my entrance fees to Bangalore Medical College. It was, I had a lot of freeship also. That was exactly 275 rupees, which I earned by working in the flour mill. And that's when I was working there. One of my friends took me to Ramakrishna Ashrama in Basavangudi, and Vivekananda inspired, inspiration of Swami Vivekananda. And that made me to with a biased thing, to work for the poor, to reach the unreached. That became possible when I came in contact with Vivekananda's ideas and Gandhian ideas. And that's how. So I started my work in Veerappan's territory, as all of you know about it. So we also work in Naxalite areas in Orissa and in Telangana, some places. And in the northeast, there is a problem called insurgency. He knows, he was in Meghalaya. So insurgency is a problem. So remote hilly tribal areas, even now in Arunachal Pradesh, BR Hills is no more a remote place. There are still primary health centers where there are no electricity, no telephone connectivity. So we formed Vivekananda VGKK, as was described. I'll just go through this. These are some of the pictures of BR Hills. The children, I'll leave all this for you, and I'm sure these slides will be given to you, and you can go through it. So they belong to the Vedoid group of aboriginals. And this is interesting, and this is where genetics is very important. These are megalithic burial sites. There are about 200, 220 megalithic burial sites in BR Hills in several clusters. So how they got such big slabs, we do not know, on the top of the hills. They used to bury, and that slab lying on the other side, that is put on that, and the annual feeding is done through the hole on this side. So we want to know whether these people are Soligas themselves or belong to so we will be excavating soon, and I will probably try to bring the DNA samples to you, and you can say whether they belong to the same Soligas or different one. This is, but I am using this. I have transplanted one of these to our campus. Mainly, we have a constant struggle with the forest department. I have my own forest. My brother-in-law was a senior, retired as a secretary of forest. So I am very close to forest. I am for conservation, but I am also very important. Tribals are also part of that conservation. They cannot be apart from the biodiversity there. And I had a thesis that biodiversity conservation and livelihood of the tribal people can go together, and we have proved that in BR Hills. There were a lot of efforts to save tigers in BR Hills. They wanted to shift, relocate all the soligas outside BR Hills. We didn't allow that, and today we have shown that with the tribals living in the wildlife sanctuary, in the tiger reserve, and recently Prime Minister gave the acknowledgement to the soligas in the conservation of tigers. Soligas have also played an important role. So we have disproved and we used to show this to the forest officers, and this is what the tribal person said. We have been living together. Sometimes the wildlife tigers used to eat us, and we also used to eat wild boars, hunting them and all of that. But we had a good understanding. Why do you want to separate us now? And that's exactly true, and we allowed that to happen. And this is a tribal culture is unique, living in harmony with nature. This is a typical Vedic culture. I feel Rigvedic culture is being seen in these tribals. I started with curative health services, saving lives, snake bite cases, mauling by bears. I don't know whether you saw any cases of mauling by bears was also there. Would strip off the scalp, suturing them and all of that, and snake bites, all of them were a problem. Then we found a whooping cough as an epidemic in one of the produce. Then when community health, all that madam had taught us, became very important. And I also discovered I had no pills for poverty. I wish, because most of the problems were malnutrition, and malnutrition is because they don't have land rights, they cannot cultivate. So land rights became important, and fighting for their land rights. I was in the jail with the tribals for about 3 nights. And then I was released, and we got the land back to the tribal people. And today, all the tribals in BR Hills have got land rights. They are able to cultivate. And when you see the graph, their health had a quantum jump in their health outcomes when the land rights were given to them. That's so important. Our pills, our curative services alone will not help. The total development of the people, giving them access to the natural resources, very, very important. So community development became important. And finally, we are living in a very, biodiversity conservation is very important, and sustainable development concept, where livelihood of the people and sustainable development of the tribals and the biodiversity conservation can go together. Now, I have evolved some basic principles of tribal development. Classical example is that Dr. Meenakshi Bhatt herself staying there 3 days eating ragi balls with the children, and we had some sambar, and surviving there is not yet. It really needs some sort of passion to be there and work with the people. Of course, I always enjoyed eating with the children. I did that all my life. I also had a commitment that I should eat like the tribal children there and be part of that. So I estimated that Soliga income, average income is $1 a day approximately. So I started, my lifestyle was also like that. Even today, it's about $3 per day. I survive on $3 per day, simple life. I get 6,000 rupees pension, and I have all the luxuries in my life. Of course, my travel and other things the organization takes care of, but my basic living is possible. There is joy in leading a simple life is what I am telling. There is no end for greed. By leading a simple, in tune with the community, only when we identify the community, live with them, we understand their problems, and we can build on that. Traditional knowledge systems will be studied, including the squatting posture as the delivery. For the non-doctors who do not know, the first delivery which came, she had a prolonged delivery, prolonged labor, and I had put my obstetric table, Bangalore Medical College teaching, so I wanted the obstetric table to be there. I wanted her to be lying there, but she refused. Finally, I take the help of the traditional birth attendant, and I had to conduct in squatting posture in the corner of the labor, so-called labor room, which was the thatched hut. But later on, we have now enough evidence to show that the gravity helps pelvic muscles can contract better, And squatting posture is the ideal posture. And why do we have this obstetric table? They are more convenient for nurses and doctors. We don't get back pain at the cost of the mothers. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but there are a lot of truth. So we have one rope hanging for squatting posture. We have 2 labor rooms. And if there are any problems, if they need any further interventions, we put them on the obstetric table. Otherwise, we try to conduct in the squatting posture. We have made, this is the delivery squatting posture. So I have a comprehensive primary health care where we have integrated the traditional knowledge also into it, and at least about 20 to 25% of the primary health care problems can be managed by traditional medicine. This is a new hospital, and this is a mobile unit going around. We had very difficult to get human resources there. This was the first batch of tribal girls trained as tribal ANMs. Of course, the government did not recognize them. That concept of ASHA was not there. But many of them have become ANMs now. We took it as a challenge and made them pass as auxiliary nurse midwives. And this is doing street theater. I started school. Children were roaming around. They were not going to the school. And in 1981, I built another hut. My hospital was also in a hut. And we started with the 6 children. 4 have become postgraduates. And Jadia is the president of VGKK now. He is a professor in the forestry college. He teaches in the forestry college. And there are many graduates and postgraduates. This is the school. We have made several innovations in education. I will not go into that. We have made self-help groups, honey processing, technology resource, community organization. I have to tell about the Abdul Kalam. I got a phone call from Abdul Kalam when he was in DRDO. And these are the exact words he said. One of the spiritual person has told me, find 100 Punyatmas who can transform the country. And I am in search of them. So I have heard about you. I am coming there to see you. He came all the way to BRL, spent time with us. And then he would invite me to see other Punyatmas in the country. So he would take me around and all of that. After that, of course, he became president, and I thought he had forgotten. He stopped that activity also. So we tried to convey it. We were celebrating our 25th anniversary. We wanted him to come. So he came on his birthday, celebrated his birthday with the tribal children in BR Hills. We also now have a Gorukana ecotourism. All of you are welcome. By staying there, all the income, profits we get, it goes to the tribal development. I was depending heavily on the government grants and donations. So now we are generating about 30 lakhs by the ecotourism, which goes for tribal health and education. We are trying to become self-reliant. Biligiri conservation through, this is a reception, these are the cottages. All of you are welcome to come and stay and help the Soligas, not for and also have a good view of the understanding of the tribal people. I also had unique opportunity of working with the Great Andamanis and the Jaravas. These are the naked tribes in Andaman. How many of you have been to Andamans? Oh, good. Okay, that's very good. So, their problems, I will not, it's a wonderful story. I spent 3 days with them. It was a great joy. There's a smile, beautiful smile in them. I am now getting that smile in my own life without stress, without all of that. And only thing is the Great Andamanis live in a straight island. When I went there, the government had posted a pharmacist, and of all the things, a nemesilide syrup, I found a bottle of nemesilide syrup. Nemesilide is a banned drug in especially pediatrics. It is not good. So we had to make a policy for the Great Andamanis, how not to use the hazardous banafil drugs, but only understand their own traditional medicine, encourage that rather than doing other things. So we made a health policy for Great Andamanis. That's about 35 people. I also made health policy for Karnataka, 6.5 crores. But it was a great joy in making health policy for at that time there were 38 people. So that's also very important. That's where our rare diseases also, making health policy for the rare diseases is also as important as making policy for the rest of the people. Okay, these are some of the lessons. I was also instrumental. The tribal health in India, we made a committee, the government of India. Dr. Abhay Bang, many of you might know, he's in Maharashtra, so he was the chairman. I was also a member of this, and we made a very detailed report, submitted it, but unfortunately nothing much has happened so far. In 1986, we started Karuna Trust. We brought down the leprosy, and there was a peculiar type of problem in Elandur area in the Mysore Plateau region called hot water epilepsy. We need to look at the genetics of that. When they take hot water bath, they get seizures, they get fits. So that's very peculiar to this hot water epilepsy thing. And simple health education, not pouring the hot water on the scalp. Mothers put their palm and pour the hot water on the palm rather than on the direct scalp. It can prevent it. So we did a lot of work on epilepsy. And of course, that's when the whole picture of India came to me. We have PET scans, MRIs, we have now this type of institutions. But in the remote areas, people are dying of acute, that's what our madam had taught, acute respiratory infections and diarrheal diseases are the major causes of infant mortality. So what can we do for those things? That's a challenge. And these two ends, we have the highest end of healthcare, but at the same time, basic services are not there. Health financing has been very bad, 0.9 to 1.5%. I still remember the fight we had, how to increase the health budget. I have been doing it, but now it has come from 0.9, it went up to 1.4, 1.5, stagnating there. Again, we are not increasing the health budget. We are not spending enough. Public spending is still very less. And private spending means more cost to the patients. So we have to be careful. We need to spend more from the government. And you must be surprised, the primary health care which we are providing, the cost of it is only 250 rupees, $3 per person per year. We provide mother and child health, communicable diseases, non-communicable diseases, all put together for 30,000 population. And per capita, it is $203 per person per year. I don't think people are shocked to see that, but it's the reality. We're able to provide that type of thing. So how to do the health equity is also financial, is very important. Quality in healthcare, the Gumbali PHC, which we have at the foothills, was the first to get NABH accreditation for primary healthcare. Mostly they were doing for hospitals, but I was very keen on getting accreditation for the primary healthcare. Then the concept, we were doing parallel work. The government also was spending money. There was supposed to be a sub-center in BR Hills and a primary health center below. They were lazing around and we were doing the donkey job. So I met the health secretary. Gautam Basu was the health secretary at that time, and then we said, why don't you partner? Whatever, they said we will give only 75% of what we are spending, you have to manage. So we developed this public-private partnership and managing primary health centers throughout the country. This is the Karuna Trust, I will not bore you. But we also partner with the CSR funds. With the Bosch, we have a Adigadi Urban Primary Health Center. Sarnas Strides and others are also doing. I believe in comprehensive primary health care, and this is the usual primary health center. So this is the Gumbali PHC where we started, used to be 70 IMR, and I am very proud 2 years we could touch no IMR in that primary health center. It's impossible to sustain at zero, but it has happened. That gives me the greatest joy. And the institutional deliveries, they don't have to deliver at home in the cow shed. They can have 100% deliveries. Yeah. And the IMR maternal mortality has come down. So we started in southern Karnataka. Now we have worked in almost all the backward talukas in Karnataka. Then the call came, the Arunachal Pradesh, this is about 1.5 million people. The health secretary from Arunachal Pradesh called me, sorry, I'm turning this side, I'm not able to face you. Also because my teacher is here and sorry, I'm not ignoring you. So he said, we want to give you the most difficult primary health centers and we want to have a public-private partnership in managing this PHC. I took up that challenge. It was very difficult. I had to spend about 50,000 rupees to go there and see and do all that. It was a huge investment for me at that time. And Soligas are different from these people. Either they have a dagger or a gun with them. Northeastern, they're more violent. Of course, Andaman also, but they are mostly bow and arrows. They don't have daggers and all of that. But Northeastern tribes are really tough to deal with. So 2005 we started. This is how some of the PSC. This is a bombing PSC. Even today there is no electricity. We have a generator. There is no telephone connectivity. That's how it was. Wild boars roaming around. One D group fully drunk. He came to hand over that PHC to me. No other officer came. So that's how it was, and we have made it functional in that. This is how the pharmacy was. Now we have made it. This is a Waka PHC where insurgency is a problem. After we started it, the medical officer was told all the government officers give 15% of their salary to us. So you also have to give 15% of your budget to us. Said we cannot do it. So we finally said, if you insist on that, we'll close. So we were exempted from insurgency people. We don't have to pay 15%. Similarly, Veerappan also never gave trouble to us. And the Naxalites also never bothered us. Because we are doing healthcare, sometimes we also treated them because we can't distinguish, but they were quite happy in these tough areas. The Italian PHC in Arunachal Pradesh, we didn't have quarters. This is a doctor and the wife was a nurse and they had a baby. So I told about my story living in the thatched hut and inspired them, and they stayed in this thatched hut for 2 years. So it's infectious, this type of madness which we have can be, it's like a virus, it can be infect, and they lived, and now we have much better quarters. But there are a lot of committed people. You never know, it's not only with the Sudarshan or XR Vizar, there are many, many wonderful, there are many Gandhis in everybody's heart. So we have that, it's in a potential form, it has to unfold itself. These are some roads to the PHCs. This is the Brahmaputra River, and in one PHC during the monsoons they have to use the elephant to cross the river. They can't use the boat also, because I am more familiar with the Soligas. I was fascinated that the elephant was being used for crossing. These are the bridges which our health workers have to make use of. And this is I will tell you, this is the story of a ANM immunization day, and she doesn't want to miss the immunization because the road is cut off completely. So she is carrying the vaccine carrier, going there and immunizing people. So that is a symbol of reaching the healthcare to the unreached. We have made several innovations in primary healthcare. I will quickly go through this. Protocol for emergency care. Traditional medicines. Madam was sharing so many things. The Adatoda Vasaka, the lower one, is a simple remedy for cough syrup. My definition of a cough syrup, Benadryl, Codex and all of that, is a colorful bottle, sugary syrup, 3 to 5% alcohol and few paise worth of antihistamine, and costs about 80 to 90 rupees. Instead of that, 2 leaves of Adatoda Vasaka, boil it and use the 80 rupees for good nutrition. That's the message. Okay. So there are a lot of good traditional medicine. Mainstreaming them into the primary healthcare is very important. We have the mainstreaming non-communicable diseases there is becoming major, including the genetic disease for us, the sickle cell anemia, the eye care, the communication disorders. Mysore has a speech and hearing institute. How to take speech and hearing problems into the primary health care. We have done that in several PHCs, and we are able to early detect the speech and hearing problems and take care of them. Low-cost generic drugs, and thanks to the now Janaushadhi, we also now run the Janaushadhi, but the concept of generic drugs being cheaper than the branded drugs, we started it 40 years back, and it is being promoted. Mental health program, how to take the mental health into primary health care was the greatest challenge, and we worked with NIMHANS, and Gumbali was the first PHC to implement it, and we have now implemented mental health program. And Manasa is the care for homeless mentally ill women and men. We have a center in Mysore, for both men and women, and we take care of them. Management of cancers, low cost, is the 250 rupees per capita budget, how to detect cancers in a primary health center. Shown that oral cancer, just an examination. For breast cancer palpation, we cannot afford mammogram and all of that. Simple palpation, self-examination and examination by. And so for cervical cancers, again, the pap smear is also expensive. So there is what is called, by applying 5% acetic acid, visually examining the cervix. And those, with visual inspection, if they are positive, they will be subjected to pap smear. Then the positivity rate will increase. So that we could do with just 1 rupee per person. We could screen all the people for all the 3 cancers. Community planning and monitoring, involving them in various, also district health management, district water quality. The primary health centers, we are also supposed to be in charge of the 30,000 population and all the villages around you, about 25 villages. We found the medical officer was totally ignorant. There is a public health engineering department which does the testing of the bore wells, water quality, and then they find fluoride or arsenic, but they don't inform the PHC, and these people also don't look at that data, and they were unable to manage. Now I have made it compulsory that every PHC should have a map of all the bore wells and the quality testing of the bore wells. This was the initiative which we did. I also worked with the Sustainable Energy, Harish Hande, who also got Maxesa Award. So all our primary health centers, these are solar vaccine refrigerator. These are very useful in Northeast, where there is no electricity at all. We have Logistimo for drug management, newborn care. I'll just skip all this. This is a Teju Hospital, Dream Hospital, which I was called a international social entrepreneur. They don't give any money or award. All my awards, unfortunately, very little, except the Right Livelihood Award gave substantial amount. So there I met 2 bankers. They said, we will give you 1 crore, build a hospital in Teju. So that's how I got, and we built a hospital in Teju in Arunachal Pradesh. The high hospital is in Kotgadam in Telangana. So this is my favorite one. This is in Brahmaputra is a vast river, unlike the South Indian rivers. There are small islands, and the tribals live in those islands. So we have a boat clinic. Don't have a good picture of that, unfortunately. That center one is the boat. The boat clinic goes around and treats them. And this is one of my dream project, and it's running very well. And after inaugurating that, I'm also a fan of swimming. I learned swimming at the age of 55, and I inaugurated that by jumping into Brahmaputra and swimming. People said you should not do it. And I live now on the banks of Kaveri River. Every day I cross the river 600 meters and come back 600 meters. That's the secret of my good health, by the way. That's it. But those who are interested in swimming, most welcome to come and swim with me. This is the mobile medical units which we are doing, and we also worked in Arunachal Pradesh. During the COVID period, we did a lot of work in many of the COVID-19 response. All our PHCs, we had diagnostic facilities, and we immunized all the people. More than 2 million people, we immunized them. I will not bore you with all the details during the COVID-19. This is the 1-bed ICU in PHCs, and also in the 10-bed ICU project. This we have done in collaboration with other Give India and others, cryptocurrency, HDFC Bank. So we have created where a lot of lives are being saved, including myocardial infarctions and all of that. This is in the Manipur. So quality of healthcare, this is the first accreditation of NABH for our primary health center in Kumbadi. And we also have a fellowship program with AFPI for primary healthcare. This is also my team. In Bangalore Medical College, I have a Vivek Medical Student Scholarship for people who are difficulty in getting education like me. Now we can provide scholarship, not a big amount, but we are providing scholarship for because in Bangalore Medical College we really get very deserving, most meritorious, and the poor people also are there, poor students are there. So providing them with scholarship. We have financial resources. Anyway, briefly, I was also the chairman for 4 years. I was just called by S.V. Ranganath, the secretary during S.M. Krishna's period, made the chairman of task force to look at the entire Karnataka state to improve the public health, stabilize population, all of that. And they said I have to give a report. I refused to say only giving report. I have to monitor the implementation of the recommendations which you make. So they agreed for that. So I was also monitoring the recommendations. We made the Karnataka state integrated health policy. The health policy is unfortunately population policy, drug policy, nutrition, all of them are interrelated, but they are all different policies. First time we made integrated all of them into an integrated health policy. And we identified 12 major issues of concern in Karnataka state, and corruption is on the top of the list. So my health secretary was very upset. This is a government report, how can you put corruption on the top of this? At least bring it down to third or fourth. But I said, this is based on evidence and I cannot do it. Then they were all very apprehensive, but I presented it to S.M. Krishna. He was good enough to accept it, that finally. And we made several, tried to control, but within the health department it was difficult. So we had one good Lokayukta, Justice Venkatachala, had taken charge and he was visiting hospitals and looking at corruption there. I gave him a copy of my report and he said, you have identified corruption, why don't you join me? I worked honorary as task force chairman for 4 years. So I wanted to work honorary as vigilance director with Justice Venkatachala. But they said, if you have to have a judicial immunity to work in the Lokayukta, you have to be a paid servant of the government. So I was paid 1 rupee salary, which used to come from treasury. I have those 48 coins with me. And I worked with that, but it gave me tremendous moral courage to talk about corruption openly. Even I have encountered with a health minister who was involved in corruption in procurement of equipment. So that 1 rupee salary was a great moral strength for me to fight. We stopped suspending them, but publicly humiliate them by showing it in front of the media. That made some impact. Procurement, we have made a very robust procurement policy, transparency, accountability mechanisms to prevent corruption. But earlier I used to say we would eradicate corruption like smallpox. Then I had to say control of corruption. It's like tuberculosis, it's a chronic illness. So it's now call it control of corruption. So what I'm saying is mere technological packages can give us some improvement, but if good governance is there, we'll have quantum jump in health outcome. We had one good health secretary, one Madan Gopal. I had a unique opportunity of working with him. For 3 drug controller, the drug control mechanism becomes easier. Everything becomes, the whole governance improves. It in your director also the passion to do something for the and transformational. The IAMB made a study and called it transformational leadership, and the World Economic Forum called it international social entrepreneurship. But what I call is living practitioners of values. What Gandhiji said, my life is my message. If we can do that, even 1% of that, we will have tremendous satisfaction. This is actually the symbol. I end with that. But what I am telling today is, I don't have a big bank balance, and I am alone. That way, my mother lived up to 95. I had promised her I will celebrate 100th birthday, but COVID somehow brought. She was not COVID positive, but she succumbed to the pneumonia. But I am the happiest person. There is joy bubbling up within me, and every moment I enjoy the surroundings in the Kollegal. And I want to share that joy with all of you. And whatever little work I have done, it's because of all of you together. I have participated in it. This is a way of life, and it has tremendous. And this potential is there in everybody. We have to allow it to really develop, unfold itself. It's not peculiar to some people. Earlier it was, people said you have done sacrifice. It was not sacrifice. It was a passion for me. Now it is a joyful every moment is joyful for me. I don't miss anything in my life. A great joy. So I just open my story with this, that take a chance of this type of way of life also as a possibility and do it. Thank you very much. Welcome. Any questions if you want, I can, is it needed? Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir, for that fascinating talk. I'm sure all of us enjoyed it. Like now we talk about inflation and everything, and you were saying that you are living on $3 per day. I do not know how you do that. And so now the floor is open for questions. If any one of you has any comments or questions, please raise your hands and feel free to ask.
Yeah. So probably it's not a question. So first of all, it's such a happy day for me. I have read about you in Sudha and Taranga in my younger days. It's a fantastic opportunity. I'm really feeling very elated to hear from you and see you. So just a question on the concern that about the pollutants reaching the deep areas, in the tribal areas. So you mentioned about borewell waters being contaminated. So I just wanted to know how bad it is currently. Is it really in deep areas of forest also this is happening in the borewells? Or? No, not in the forest area. There it is mainly the coffee plantation people. The Birla's estate and all others have taken it. They do the coffee, they remove and chemicals and fertilizers and insecticide. That is polluting the running water. The borewells I am talking about in the plains, in the Kolar and gold mines area, all of them. Arsenic problem is there in Karnataka also. West Bengal it is much more. Arsenic fluoride, that's due to contamination, industrial pollution, all that is still a major problem. So water quality is very, very important. We were of course taught mostly to test for bacterial contamination. Worse than bacteria are the fluoride and the arsenic, and all of those are also very equally important.
In the deep forest, they have the natural water.
Yeah.
And the cancer rate and all, is it prevalent there in deep forest, or it's mostly?
It's less, but we don't know. We have to see. But definitely some cancers which are made in the urban lifestyle is definitely not there.
Thank you so much, sir. ನಾನು ಸಣ್ಣವಳಿದ್ದಾಗ ತರಂಗ ಓದಿದಾಗ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಓದಿದ್ದೆ. ಅವಾಗಿಂದ ಯಾರು ಇವರು ಒಂದ್ಸತಿನಾದ್ರು ಜೀವಿತ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಮೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು ಒಂದು ಆಸೆ ಇತ್ತು. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸೋ ಮಚ್, ಸರ್. ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ಐ ಫೆಲ್ಟ್, ಐ ಕುಡ್ ಸ್ಪೀಕ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ my language which came from my heart. Thank you so much, sir. And in fact, my father was as a social department head. He was a social welfare officer, and in Biligiri and Betta he used to. When I mentioned about you at home, he was telling that I have worked with him. And even my sister, who is a doctor, had mentioned about your stint of being a vigilant officer for handling the PHCs. And he was telling 70% of the PHCs was taken over to monitor them and help them out. So thank you so much. In fact, when I was hearing about the squatting position, which is the normal position of delivery for women, and even on the operation theatre or the bed, when patients, they ask them to lift their leg, that is almost like a squatting position. But why is it not made compulsory, or such a nice practice has not put into place everywhere?
Now there are efforts. Chairs are being made to do it in squatting posture, water birthing also. Some efforts are being done. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. SUDARSHAN. I also had an experience of visiting your place.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
What is the status of malaria?
See, brief history of course, sickle cell. She also told, wherever there was falciparum malaria, mosquitoes and the malaria, probably they were at the foothills. And as civilization encroached, BRLs, very few mosquitoes are there, malaria transmitting. So in the absence of malaria, how the gene behaves also is a wonderful study we need to make on the Soligas. where there is no malaria, and in that, because as many of you know, sickle cell anemia, the mutation took place only to save from the falciparum malaria, which used to cause cerebral malaria. And those who know, I think those theories are still valid. In the Plasmodium vivax, it strangulates the malarial parasites and kills it. The metabolites stimulate and strangulates it. So that saved them, made them survive. But in the absence of that, what happens is we need to look at it. But of course, other problems of the dengue fever and all that in the plains. But in the BR hills, very few malaria transmitting mosquitoes.
Have you taken any initiative as far as sickle cell anemia is concerned? Because my experience with the travel is that the life expectancy of an average sickle cell person is about 15 years, 15 to 16 years in India.
That's what Dr. Meenakshi Bhatt shared. First I wanted one Dr. R.L. Kirk, who is from National University in Canberra. He came and he had done it in other Gudlur area and others in the Nilgiris. So I was lucky to bring him to BRLs, and we took some samples and we found sickle cell anemia. Then I had to smuggle the blood, which I felt very bad at that time, taking blood outside to Australia to diagnose. Then we said, why don't we build ourselves? And my brother is an electronic engineer, 2 tungsten filaments and 2 chambers, plastic. Exactly, it cost us 250 rupees at that time. And cellulose-sustain membrane, I had to buy it. And we could run the electrophoresis, turbidity test and electrophoresis, and diagnose them and treat them. And then also, all hemolytic anemias, what is the thing? Folic acid has to be supplemented. We found the Nalli, Nerale Hannu. Nerale Hannu is the highest folic acid. So Nerala and Sharbat became one of the remedies, but folic acid tablets are also quite cheap now. So we distribute folic acid tablets and do it. We have people surviving up to 40 years now, 40, 45 years.
Some of them do manage to go along on that. But to reach hydroxyurea for the crisis is one of the biggest problems as far as.
Yeah, but fortunately, I have a theory amongst astrologers. We didn't see too many sickle cell crises, including autosplenectomy. All that which is talked about is not much there. And we did try, we didn't have any of those research facility. We did estimate in those samples the fetal hemoglobin. And that was higher in Soliga children, Soliga sickle cell anemia patient. So maybe they're persistent fetal hemoglobin. Usually fetal hemoglobin disappears and adult hemoglobin takes over. That may be helping. Further research has to be done by this institute. Yeah.
Sir, the lecture was truly inspirational, and the remarkable job you have done is really heartening to see and to observe. Sir, I'm Dr. Arun from Northeast India. I'm from Manipur.
Manipur, okay, wonderful.
I'm from Manipur, and I have seen your presence in Arunachal in your lecture. I wish that this Karuna Trust have more presence in Northeast India, because there is a good number of tribal population in Northeast India. And I have worked in the capacity of medical officer in various PAC and CHC in the tribal population of Manipur.
This 10-bedded ICU are doing very well in Manipur now.
Yes,
Saving
yes,
lives.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. So is there any future plan for expanding this Karuna Trust in Northeast India?
That is truly inspirational, sir.
Thank you.
I would like your lifetime experience, because you work also with government, in parallel with government. So how has that experience been? Are there, how do you manage that interface with the government, working together with government? Can you share some advice on that part? Thank you.
Government has actually, I heard there are good people, there are bad people. Again, NGOs, there are corrupt NGOs, there are good NGOs. In government also there are good people, there are corrupt. Even in the private sector, there are exploitative. So all three good people in all the three sectors can come together, that's the solution. I've been searching for that. I had a unique opportunity of working with very good government officers also. There are many good governments, but there are also corruption. Corruption is very rampant. I will not, but the hope is there are good people like Madan Gopal with whom I worked. I know him since he was a AC in Nanjangud. From that day onwards, he has been transferred, harassed, but uncorruptible person. There are such people in the society, and that's because that's how it is surviving. And I also found that some of our institutions like NIMHANS, partly state funded, very little corruption. But whereas in other states, including Indira Gandhi Hospital, there was a lot of corruption in Indira Gandhi Hospital also. Everywhere corruption is the major. I mean, I had to join Lokayukta mainly because one of my patients from Purani Podu had an intestinal obstruction, 22 years, taken to Mysore Medical College Hospital. And they took him to the OT, asked for money. He didn't have money. They returned him back to the OT. I was not there they could not inform me also. So the next day, again taken and returned, and he dies with the intestinal obstruction in this age for 22 years. That's when I said I should teach this serious problem. And but still there are very wonderful, great people. We need to see also in Lokayukta we used to do what are called, our police department used to do raids. When a corrupt person is raided and is caught, there are at least some 20 people to say that he is a good person, to help him, support him on behalf of him. But when a good person is harassed by the system, nobody comes to his help. They are just watch themselves. Even the so-called good people keep quiet. Very few people support. All good people should also join together. We should become a force. Then only we can do it. Just as the corrupt people have a greater unity to protect themselves, the good people also have to come together. That's a challenge. I thank Dr. Meenakshi, but she has to catch a flight to international flight, but still she's relaxed and doing the program. Thank you. Thank you.
All the parents feel very happy and proud when their children do well, that achievement. Same feeling continues for the teachers. I am doubly privileged. They have done so well and made me happy, and I can't say how much you have done for the community development and health with you. So thanks, Dr. Sudarshan and Dr. Meenakshi.
Madam was a very good teacher. This is called preventive and social medicine, and supposed to be very boring and all of that, and very common to throw paper arrows when they turn that side. But Madam, nobody had the courage. She was a good teacher and didn't do it. I didn't throw arrows.
Thank you, everyone. Remaining questions you may ask can be noted down during the tea and snacks. Now, as a token of our gratitude, I would like to request Dr. Meenakshi to present a memento to Dr. Sudarshan. Thank you so much, sir, for your time, for accepting the invitation, and for sharing your journey with us.
You have to come here. Thank you.
Maybe you should.
It's heavy also. Like that? Shall I keep it for you?
Yeah. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Joined us today for this series, and we really look forward to meeting you for the next session as well. Now please join us in the quadrangle for a photo, followed by tea and snacks. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you. individuals who have done a lot of things in their lives, be it with academic journey or with their personal journey. So today we are very honored to have an eminent personality with us who has touched many lives with his work. So I would like to request our respected director, Dr. Meenakshi Bhatt, to introduce the speaker formally to us. Ma'am.
So, good afternoon, everybody. I'm very heartened that we've got so many people in the hall in spite of it being student holidays. And there are many hundreds of people who have joined online for this. I hope you can hear me. So, like Dr. Surya said, and thank you, Surya, for this moment is special to us, especially to me, and I will say why. So, warm welcome to you, Dr. Sudarshan, for being here with us. It is my privilege to introduce you today, and this is the third of our inspirational lecture series. The first was delivered by Dr. Kiran Majumdar, and second was by Dr. Kiran Kumar, who's from the ISRO chairperson. So, over 40 years ago, I have to tell this story. A very serious-looking young doctor came to our house in Mysore, and he told my mother, who was then the head of Department of Community Medicine in Mysore, that he had started a hospital, and this was among the tribal communities in Biligiri Hills, and he was very concerned because when he came down to the plains for any other work, he had to close the hospital and he didn't have the manpower to run it. So he asked my mother whether people who do rural postings, that you're supposed to do that as a part of your internship, could somebody be posted to these places to be of help? And she readily agreed, but only if people volunteered to go there. And I think that was the start point of you getting some people to work there for periods of time to help out. So this was the Vivekananda Girijan Kalyan Kendra, which was established formally in 1981, and it works started by Dr. Sudarshan, and whose focus of the organization was holistic health, education, and the rights of the Soliga tribal community who lived in that general area. So I had never certainly heard of any of this, but I remember this I was still, I think, in the first part of medical school. So Dr. Sudarshan, he was inspired to become a doctor because of a personal tragedy. When he was a young boy, he lost his father because of lack of timely medical help. And at that point, he decided that he would become a doctor and reach those people that have got the least access to medical facilities. And a lot of what I think he will speak about today is his experiences in doing exactly that. So he finished his medical graduation from Bangalore Medical College in 1973. I didn't know the work that you did in between, but he went to West Bengal, and then from there towards Almora in the Himalayas, and there was some healthcare things that he did there before returning back to Karnataka, and then he started off in BR Hills, as Biligiri Hills are called, with the Soliga community. So this was a time when there was a very high incidence of leprosy within the communities in Chamarajanagar district where this area is. For those of us in genetics, there's also a very high incidence of sickle cell anemia among the tribal community, like in other tribal communities throughout India. So he established the Vivekananda Girijan Kalyan Kendra in 1981, and for several years he worked to improve the health, started a school with a tailored curriculum so that they get to learn more of their own culture and they do not only invite city-based learning. He also started immunization for children, children who lived up in the trees with their parents because most tribals lived in the trees. He helped with safe delivery of mothers. The Soliga women, they squat through pregnancy, they never lie down, and they deliver in squatting position. So it's very difficult to examine them through pregnancy. And basically, he helped not only with health, but also to set up a vocational training center and to uphold and preserve the rights of the tribal community. Thanks to his efforts, the Soliga community has become self-sufficient, and in 2018, after many legal battles, they were awarded the forest rights and are now responsible for the sustainable conservation of that region. So these Soliga students also, through their education, have done things like completing MBBS, PhD in agriculture, and I think they work in the same center and contribute towards it. This was at a time when one feared Veerappan, who was the feared dacoit in that region. Also, there were wild elephant herds to be feared, and amongst all this, the work that was happening was going on. A few years into the establishment of this, as a young intern, I got an opportunity to work in the same place. And I spent 3 months there in VGKK as a doctor. Among other things, I learned to treat animal bites, bee stings, injuries from fall from a tree, and also to investigate sickle cell anemia with a homemade electrophoresis kit, which I think his brother had made. So we used to work with that and keep cards of all the carriers and the homozygous affected long, long ago, so that we knew what needed to be treated and how. So this was a long time ago. I never saw a single patient with a lifestyle disorder or obesity, and that was so unique to the community there, who were always active. I wanted to show you a few photographs that I've got from my very grainy pictures that I took there. The lady on the right was the first patient I ever treated. I had to travel 6 hours to go and pick her up because she had had a miscarriage and she had a septic abortion. This was the hospital view. With the patients used to be all outside, so we had to ask them to come back from rounds to come and lie back on the bed because they'd be sunning themselves. And these are some of the children who had this innate musical ability and a great sense of rhythm. So they used to come and sing and talk to us about herbs. I'm sure they're all grown up now. They wrote to me for many years after I left the place. That's a younger version of me with the man Friday that you used to have, Dr. Sudarshan. His name was Malesha. And that was a wild elephant who used to come every day to eat jaggery at the place that I worked. I sent much of my internship money to pay for the jaggery even after I left. And we were very blessed because we were allowed into the sanctum sanctorum of the temple during the jatra. Thanks to us being doctors and with the vicarious honor that we had of being in his footsteps. Dr. Sudarshan was not there at that time, so I just wanted to show those pictures, and that was Deer Hills. So in 1986, Dr. Sudarshan started the Karuna Trust, and to continue the model of integrated development of rural communities. This was tribal community to start off, and rural communities by addressing health, education, and livelihood security. So this trust has been working alongside the governments of various states, not against or in spite of the governments, for holistic development of unreached communities. I hope we'll hear more about this today in your talk. In policy making, Dr. Sudarshan has been an Ashoka Fellow from Ashoka Innovators for Public USA, the chairperson of various health commissions in India. As chairman of the Task Force of Health and Family Welfare, he helped develop a comprehensive report to reform the health system of Karnataka. As the Ombudsman for Health, Education and Social Welfare, Karnataka Lokayukta, he has fought for good governance to make public services reach the poor, including the tribal people. And for his selfless and relentless efforts, he's been honored with many awards, far more than I can enumerate here. Just some of these are the Karnataka Rajyotsava Award, the Right Livelihood Award in 1994, which is otherwise called the Alternative Nobel, and the Padma Shri from the President of India in 2000, the International Social Entrepreneur Award of the Year from the Schwab Foundation in 2015, and the Ashton Award for Health and Energy in 2019. More recently, he's been awarded a doctorate in science from the Ramakrishna Mission, and currently he's working to set up a health facility in Belur Math in West Bengal. Dr. Sudarshan, I'm really happy that you have agreed to give this talk, and I'd like to inform you that in addition to all the distinguished audience that we have here, your former teacher, Dr. Vasundhara is here, your former classmate, Dr. Veena Rao is here, and we're all looking forward to hearing from you.